If you like Outlaw Door Slammers, then get ready. IDR is in Houston, Texas for the first race of the American Drag Racing League 2007 series. So sit back, relax, and enjoy IDR on the asphalt and in the sand, starting now.
Welcome everyone to the debut of Inside Drag Racing here on the Outdoor Channel. And this week's action will indeed bring us once again to the very first event of the Flowmaster Mufflers American Drag Racing League Outlaw Door Slammer Drag Racing Tour. We're here at Houston Motorsports Park, just northeast of Houston proper. And indeed, a lot of Texas fans have come to this amazing little 8th Mile drag racing facility to see the RacingJunk.com Drag Palooza event. And indeed, this is the first race in the Alpha Trade Battle for the Belts World Championship chase. We'll be talking more about that as the event goes on, but first, we've already seen one amazing round of competition in not one but two eliminator categories. First and foremost, it was the Pro Nitrous division, which utilizes, of course, nitrous oxide injection on carbureted gas-burning engines, and in that battle, we saw an amazing number produced by Texas favorite Don Reister. His beautiful blue 1968 Camaro came within 0.003 of a second of shattering Shannon Jenkins' world elapsed time record for a nitrous oxide injected 8th Mile race car at 3.995 seconds in his opening round match. And that means with the weather cooling off rapidly, we could see world record elapsed times and speeds as this event goes on. Now bear in mind, this event was also chosen to be the debut for Shannon Jenkins' brand new Torco Race Fuels Pontiac GTO. It has already qualified number 2 at 4.02 and scored an easy first round win, but it too could be a 3-second player. Unfortunately, another one of the 3-second hitters won't get a chance to try and hit that magic number after a first round red light start by number 1 qualifier Mike Castellana in his Western Beef Cavalier, having already run 4.01 seconds in qualifying. In the Pro Extreme division, there is an absolute horsepower war going on here. The number 1 qualifier, Todd Tutterow, and his amazing new supercharged 1941 Willys Americar running as quick as 3.87 seconds in the opening round of competition. But right behind him, Jason Scruggs, the world ET and speed record holder in the ADRL Flowmaster Series, who clocked 194.25 miles per hour during qualifying. He could still be in contention for not only the event win, but another world record number. And let's not forget Josh Hernandez in the Dr. Moon's Rage 57 Chevrolet, which is also under 3.9 seconds at this event and has advanced past the first round. But don't think for a minute that this race is all about the numbers. It has been plenty spectacular from a spectating standpoint as well. Case in point, how about this first round Pro Nitrous matchup between West Virginian Burton Oxier, a past winner on the Flowmaster ADRL Tour, and Texan Tom Myers. Now this matchup, it was a great drag race, but you'll notice that even after Myers gets the win light, Burton Oxier runs into a little problem: no parachutes. Now Houston Motorsports Park is an absolutely flawless facility, but it is on the short side. Nobody has any trouble stopping as long as everything works right. But in this instance, as you can see, Oxier did everything he could, successfully I might add, to keep this car from going off the property. And then in the opening round of Pro Extreme, how about the ride taken by, in the near lane, the Herminator, Herman Shepard, as he took on number 1 qualifier Todd Tutterow and just about drove himself off the racetrack trying to beat the number 1 qualifier. He didn't beat the number 1 qualifier, but he did walk away to race another day. Now this event not only features the traditional Pro Nitrous and Pro Extreme supercharged categories, it is also the first event ever for the Flowmaster ADRL Extreme 10.5 series. Now these are cars that are basically the same as the regular ADRL supercharged and nitrous Pro Modifieds or Outlaw Door Slammers, except for one big difference. They are utilizing 10.5-inch wide maximum Department of Transportation approved tires. Now what that means is simple. If you have 3,000 horsepower, you can't get it to the ground through street tires. Therefore, driving and control is at a premium in this brand new division, and we've got a wide selection of outrageous new vehicles to watch for that first ever title.
The ARP Quarter Mile Quiz with Butch McCall offers you a chance to win a Quarter Mile Quiz sweatshirt while testing your knowledge of drag racing. Brought to you by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology.
Hey, I'm here with Dave Connolly getting the answer for this week's ARP Quarter Mile Quiz. Dave, the question is, what is the button on the window the Pro Stock cars used for? It was sent in to us by Michael Westbrook of Flora, Mississippi. So, buddy, you got to give him the answer.
That's a good question, Michael. But actually, I mean, our doors are actually made out of carbon fiber. So unlike a factory Chevy Cobalt, they're not as strong and they're a little bit flimsy. So right around the door seal, you might get a little air. All this button does is pushes it and it locks it in up here. There's a bracket underneath the car that locks the door in tight, so there's no wind that can possibly get in.
And if we reduce the air that gets into the car, it's more streamlined. It goes faster.
That's correct.
And that's the name of the game when you're trying to be a world champion. Hey, thanks for the question. We got a great looking ARP quarter mile quiz sweatshirt on the way to you. For you folks at home, send me an email, mail me a question. We'll send you out a shirt.
Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by Summit Racing Equipment, the World Speed Shop. And by ARP, the world leader in racing fastener technology. And by Moroso Performance Products, race proven Moroso. Welcome back to our Inside Drag Racing coverage of the RacingJunk.com Dragpalooza from Houston Motorsports Park. Round number 1 right now on the line. Pro Nitrous Tommy Myers will get the bye run. Ted Jones and Doc Riley here, Mike side with you. Doc?
Yeah, Myers gets the bye run because Oxer did a little off-road racing as we saw. We go right now into the second pair.
Featuring Charlie Carpenter, a long time since we saw that guy with his 55 Chevy against Jamie Hancock. Charlie picks up the win for 1,360 mile per hour. Next pair would feature Johnny Pilcher against Don Reisnesser.
Pilcher, good. Almost crosses the center line right there. He's got a wild ride to the very end. They give it to Pilcher right there, 131 miles per hour, 507 ET. They may have to take another look at that one. He may have crossed that center line.
Well, they're going to go down and take a look right now because, believe me, he was close. The amazing part is he lifted, got the car straightened out, and still won the race. Take another look at it right now with our instant replay. There you see, dippy towing alongside that line. Guess what? They said he did not cross the center line. He picks up the win. A strange race. Here comes Shannon Jenkins and Keith Baker. Shannon Jenkins not in the old Camaro.
No, it's a brand new ride right here. He set speed mile per hour records before. Let's see if he can do it again.
Shannon Jenkins, the Iceman, 399. Low ET of this round at 178 terminal velocity. Moving on now, round number 2 of Pro Extreme. We're only going to have 5 cars. We'll explain why in a minute. A single run. You saw Howard Moon, crew chief, lining up Josh Hernandez, the 57 AMS staff leasing sponsored Chevrolet. 386, 194. That is a low ET for the event thus far. Next up, Mike Bell and Todd Tutterow.
What a great matchup this should be. Both of these guys looking to advance right here on a very tough track. Slow off the line right there, and the win will go to Mr. Mike Bell, 473 at 122 mile per hour.
Lucky for him, Todd Tutterow broke right off the line. Next pair, John Lynham and Steve Engel.
What a great matchup this should be right here. Both of these guys looking great. Lights for both of them. 17 reaction time for Lynham, a 14 for Steve Engel.
John Lynham picks up the win, 395, 185 mile per hour. Meanwhile, you wonder what happened to the other 2 cars back in the staging lane. Bubba Stanton and Jason Scruggs both broke. Means we'll only have 3 cars in the semifinals. It's wild.
The NHRA Sportsman Spotlight with Bob Fry, featuring a closer look at NHRA sportsman drag racers and their racing activities at different drag strips across the nation. Brought to you by MSD Ignition, your complete ignition source.
When the average person thinks of a supercom dragster, they're thinking big block, rear engine, dragster. Well, Lee Davidson's car is that and more. It's got a unique twist, this race car. As a matter of fact, it's one of a kind in the world of drag racing. I found Lee in the pits at Pomona and asked him, why exactly did you ever come up with this particular design?
Well, we wanted to be different. We've always been different. And we came up with this idea. And I went to Robert Sterling. He's a very well-known chassis builder. And this is what we came up with. It's quite a unique car, and it's probably the best ride I've ever had. Because as you can see, when you're setting up that far and when you're at the finish line, you can see the world.
Tell us about the design, beginning with the driver's compartment.
Well, it's was designed as a top fuel car up in the front because of where the location is. And it's got a 30-inch crush area, for safety. And as you see, we have a lot of room. It was designed for 2 small block Chevys. And NHRA has a rule where you can only have 1 motor, so we decided to put the 480-inch motor in.
Tell us about the blower.
The blower was supplied by Les Figueroa Motorsports. It's a B&M 250, and that in itself is really unique because it has 1 George Rupert alcohol carburetor on it, which most blown cars in drag racing have 2. But we run close to 180 miles an hour with 1 carburetor.
And tell us about the suspension on it.
The suspension was designed by Mark Williams. Brett, head designer there, came up with that because the car originally was a hardtail car, and when you'd go through the lights, the chassis would unload and jump up in the air about 4 feet in the air, and it was quite a ride. So they came up with this, Robert Sterling and Mark Williams, and we took it back there, and he put this on the jig and did this and made a beautiful car.
It really is a beautiful car. If you get an opportunity to see Lee running at one of the races near you, go over there and check it out. And if you happen to be sitting around the pit area and have an extra engine you don't know what to do with, it would go nicely right in there, right there.
We'll take a break. When we return, semis from Houston. Stay tuned.
Welcome back, everybody, to the inaugural edition of Inside Drag Racing here on the Outdoor Channel. And again, we're here at Houston Motorsports Park, the first event of the 2007 season for the ADRL Flowmaster Drag Racing Series and the American Drag Racing League's Pro Nitrous and Pro Extreme machines. This is the man of the hour, but amazingly, he is dealing with a machine that just doesn't seem to want to doesn't even want to work with you. It doesn't seem like. You just ran 3.996 seconds, 0.005 of a second off of your current world ET record. It's still not low ET of the event, by the way, but even so, this car hasn't gone to the finish line yet.
Well, we just can't manipulate it over. We got some little chattery bumps in 3rd gear, and it's, the rear march and power is just awesome, and Haas, the car is doing a great job. We're just trying to get the shock package right to ride over that bump, and we hadn't found it yet. And it's getting out there and moving. Either I got to quit or wreck. So I'm, you know me.
You in the first round you got lucky because you didn't have to drive it to the finish line under power.
Exactly, and it was. I'm telling you, it's a handful out there.
It's been like this all through qualifying. Now, this is such a new car that you obviously haven't had it painted yet, but is there that much of a difference of the aerodynamics with the new GTO body, or is it, as you said, an incredible boost in horsepower from Rear and Morrison? What's making this thing get loose?
Well, I think it's a combination of we got to find what shock package, spring package, and the wing. We got the new style raised wing on it. We don't really know the numbers off of it because we don't have no data on the car. We don't really know how the air is rolling off the back of the car. So we just in a serious learning curve here, and we're just trying to wag through this deal, and so we can get more test time and figure it out. But the Torco, GTO is doing well. I mean,
yeah, for a first time out, I don't think 399 is anything you can complain about, but it was 6 miles an hour slower than your normal speed.
It's just I'm having to quit, and try to get the chutes out, and I'm missing the chute button because it's in a different location, and I don't know.
Right now, it's just a guessing game. I know. I can see that in your eyes. And not just for Shannon Jenkins. Every single person that's going to go down the track in the semifinals, even in the Outlaw 10.5 category, is up against a total unknown situation in that racetrack.
Thank you, Brett. Speaking of the 10.5-inch tire category, here we are, Extreme 10.5. Marcus Burt will face Bill Jewett in the semifinals.
Burt's in one of those Joey Martin-built cars. Martin, the champion from last year, not around this year. Burt will take the win, 447, 158 miles per hour.
The next pair up in the semifinal round would be Rodney Rosensteel and Mary Baltzell.
Both of these two competitors having a tough time to get here. They're all over the track. It's going to be down to the end of the wire. Rosensteel, 437 at 166.6 miles per hour.
Now we'll move on to the Pro Nitrous semifinals. Charlie Carpenter, that gorgeous 55 Chevrolet, would face Johnny Pilcher. Carpenter in their lane hasn't won a race in a long time. One of the true pioneers in pro modified action. Charlie Carpenter, 412, 178 miles per hour to beat out Pilcher's 419, 176. And the other pair would be Tom Myers and Shannon Jenkins.
And as we heard from Brett Kepner, guys are really trying to get the handle on the car. It's the first race of the year. A lot of unknowns. Some guys with brand new cars, other guys with new combinations. This will be a good one here. Jenkins over on the far side, a lot of unknowns, but one thing is for certain, he can get down the track.
One of the true pioneers in nitrous oxide technology gets out of shape, has to shut it down. Tom Myers, easy win, 4:08, 172. Take another look at what happened to the Iceman off the line, carrying both wheels suddenly, veers off to one side, is forced to lift or cross the center line. Moving on right now to Pro Extreme semifinal round. There's the 57 Chevrolet of Josh Hernandez. His opponent will be the Roy Hill-owned car driven by Mike Bell, former iTroy Pro Stock world champion. Oh, a whole shot by Mike Bell. Josh Hernandez, big time late point, 1:165 reaction time. Went quicker, 392, loses to a 393. Take another look at him off the line, Doc.
Boy, Bell, an outstanding launch up in there. This is one tight drag race. Not many times you see a guy with a low ET in the top mile per hour get set to the sidelines. Whole shot win for Bell. He moves to the finals.
And John Lynham lining up, he'll get the bye run. Nice 8:25 reaction time, and he just takes it easy. Doesn't want to go for lane choice 6:52. He would rather save the engine. Finals coming up next. Stay tuned. Inside Drag Racing is being brought to you by Granatelli Motorsports, the mass airflow sensor experts, and by United Specialties, home of the Trend Center, and by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
The Performance Tip. Professional tips on the latest performance technology available with NHRA Pro Stock champion Greg Anderson. Items featured on the Performance Tip are available from Summit Racing Equipment, the world speed shop.
This week's Summit Racing Equipment's Performance Tip, we're at Hypertech. We've got a new product on the market. It's called the Hypertech Race Edition, and here to tell us about it is Chris Casilius. Chris, tell us what the advantage is of the Hypertech Race Edition.
The Hyperpack Race Edition is a new product that we introduced this year at the SEMA show. Our traditional Hyperpack was designed for OBD2 computer controlled vehicles, so all the old school guys that had carburetors or aftermarket fuel injection wanted to use the drag strip and the dyno function of the Hyperpack to measure horsepower, make drag strip runs, and do tuning on their vehicles. So now we've got a product available that will allow you to hook a few sensors up. We get your vehicle speed, get your RPM, and now you can use the Hyperpack to make dyno runs and drag strip runs without the need of an expensive dyno equipment or expensive data logging equipment.
So basically this will replace a dynamometer. That's quite a product, Chris.
Absolutely. It's a very accurate. It corrects for standard temperature and pressure, takes into account aerodynamic drag and the weight of the vehicle, so we can accurately measure horsepower at the rear wheels and calculate engine horsepower and torque by just going down the back roads.
So whether you're a full-on racer or just a street racer, the Hyperpack will monitor every single addition you want on your motor. It'll help you become a better tuner, and I can't think of a better performance tip than Hyperpack.
All right, thank you very much, Greg. It's finals time in Houston, ladies and gentlemen, on the line Extreme 10.5, the Little Tire guys. Rodney Rosensteel will face Marcus Burke.
Both of these two guys have got to the finals with performance, and they're going to lay it all on the line right now in this 8th mile.
Nearly equal reaction times. Give it to Rodney Rosensteel. 4:37 beats out a 4:53.
It's not only your first big win, it also makes you the points leader in the Alpha Trade battle for the belts, buddy.
That's great. I would like to thank Flowmaster and Kenny and all y'all for showing up and having a good race like this for me to come to.
I think most of the fans here agree. They were glad you showed up, buddy.
Yeah, thank you. Absolutely.
Pro Nitrous final, Charlie Carpenter's 55 Chevrolet against the 63 Corvette of Tom Myers. Do you know how long it's been since Charlie Carpenter has been in a big-time Pro Modified final, one of the true pioneers of the sport?
And he really has picked up the mile per hour a little bit and been able to coast through on the ETs. Oh, sitting on the line is Tom Myers. Charlie's going to pick up a win.
He shuts it down and coasts through with a 635 at only 72 miles per hour. But it's a win.
Charles, as elated as you obviously are, you have to realize that across the country, maybe even around the globe, there are thousands of people, thousands of fans that are happier about this than you are.
Oh, Brett, I can't thank everybody enough. I mean, you know better than anybody here. I mean, this year is my 33rd season of racing. And starting this off like this, I mean, this is great. I mean, we had kind of a negative losing our sponsor, and so coming out swinging like this, I mean, this is what it's all about.
It's the same perseverance that has made you a champion through all these years, and I want to point out that it is most appropriate for you to take over the AlphaTrade.com points lead for the Battle of the Belts as being one of the guys that created this whole thing, my friend?
Well, I appreciate it very much, and like I said, I can't thank everybody enough. Flowmaster, Kenny, ADRL. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, this is what it's all about. I mean, this is somewhere that nitrous cars can race, and my son Michael and I here, we've worked so hard to get here and do this. I mean, this is I would have rather had a little more dramatic final there, but hey, a win is a win.
On the line now, the final run of the day, Pro Extreme. That's the Supercharged guys. Mike Bell, John Lynham.
Mike Bell looking for his first 80-year-old win. He knocked off Josh Hernandez last round. Let's see what can happen here. Look for speeds of 190 miles per hour.
Lynham goes red. Mike Bell picks up the win, 433 with a 736 for the win.
Bookended by Graham and David Baker. I gotta say, if anybody wanted to start off a year like this, it was you, especially after the test session you had recently.
No, I'm telling you, after what I went through last year, it was time to come back. And
exactly.
I tell you what, we came through a lot over the winter and found a lot of problems, and starting out on the right way this time.
You found something because, like I said, pre-race testing for this, it was running some amazing numbers. Care to divulge?
Well, I tell you, we're still running this thing at 20 over for legal NHRA right now. We've got a brand new engine combination for over here. We'll probably have it at the next race, and I think you'll see some big numbers in.
Well, the Ford fans are obviously pulling for you. And remember one thing, you are now the leader in the AlphaTrade Points Series battle for the Battle of the Belts.
Well, I appreciate that.
I don't know who that guy was, but I'd get away from him if I were you.
Getting congratulations there from car owner Roy Hill. Join us next week. We'll kick off the NMRA season from Bradenton, Florida, right here on Inside Drag Racing. We cover it all. If it's drag racing, you'll see it right here on IDR. For information on products featured on today's program, check out these websites. To find out more about ADRL, check them out at adrl.us. That's a wrap for IDR for this week. Ted Jones for Doc Riley and Brett Kepner. So long, everyone. To obtain a copy of this show, log on to masterstv.com.